Michael Jackson wasn't just the king of pop. He was a financial phenomenon. At the height of his career, Michael Jackson generated hundreds of millions of dollars through music, touring, merchandising, endorsements, and business deals that completely changed the entertainment industry forever. But behind the fame, the dancing, and the sold-out stadiums was a much darker story. Because despite earning unbelievable amounts of money, Michael Jackson also spent money at a shocking rate. Luxury mansions, private jets, rare artwork, exotic animals, and the most famous estate in music history, Neverland Ranch. At one point, reports claimed Michael Jackson was drowning in debt. And yet after his death, his estate would go on to generate billions of dollars. So how did Michael Jackson really make his money? And how did one of the richest entertainers in history almost lose everything? This is the story of Michael Jackson's millions. Michael Jackson's rise began incredibly early. Born in 1958, he became the star of the Jackson 5 while still a child. Even at a young age, it was obvious Michael was different. His voice, his stage presence, his energy. He wasn't just talented. He was magnetic. As the Jackson 5 exploded in popularity during the late 1960s and early 1970s, Michael was already earning money before most children even finished school. But the real financial explosion came later. When Michael Jackson launched his solo career, the entire music industry changed. Then came Thriller. Released in 1982, Thriller became the best-selling album of all time. And it wasn't even close. The album sold tens of millions of copies across the world and generated enormous amounts of money through album sales, concerts, music videos, merchandise, and licensing deals. But Michael Jackson didn't just make music. He transformed entertainment into a global business empire. Before Michael Jackson, music videos were often treated like simple promotional tools. Michael changed that completely. Videos like Thriller, Beat It, and Billie Jean became cultural events. Television networks played them constantly. Fans bought VHS tapes. Brands wanted partnerships. Everything Michael touched became valuable. And the more famous he became, the more money flowed in. At the height of his career, Michael Jackson was earning millions from world tours alone. His concerts generated massive ticket sales across multiple continents. Fans camped outside stadiums for days. Some tours reportedly earned hundreds of millions of dollars. But Michael understood something many artists didn't understand at the time. Fame alone isn't enough. Ownership is what creates real wealth. And that realization led to one of the smartest business deals in entertainment history. In 1985, Michael Jackson purchased the ATV music catalog for around $47 million. At the time, many people thought he was overpaying. But the catalog contained publishing rights to songs by artists like Elvis Presley, Little Richard, and most importantly, the Beatles. That meant every time Beatles songs were played commercially, licensed, or used in media, money flowed back into the catalog. And Michael Jackson owned it. The deal shocked the entertainment industry. Because Michael wasn't thinking like a musician anymore. He was thinking like an investor. Over time, the catalog became worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Eventually, Sony partnered with Michael to create Sony, ATV, one of the most valuable music publishing companies in history. That single deal transformed Michael Jackson from a superstar into a business powerhouse. And it proved something incredibly important. The real money in entertainment often comes from owning intellectual property. Not just performing. But while Michael was becoming richer than almost any entertainer alive, his spending habits were becoming legendary. And dangerous. Michael Jackson didn't spend like a normal celebrity. he spent like someone trying to build an entire fantasy world. Neverland Ranch became the ultimate symbol of that lifestyle. The property reportedly cost tens of millions of dollars and included a private zoo, an amusement park, luxury interiors, a movie theater, and massive private grounds. But Neverland was only part of the story. Michael spent huge amounts on antiques, art collections, jewelry, designer clothing, security, staff, and travel. At times, reports claimed he could spend millions in a single shopping trip. And eventually, the financial pressure started growing. Despite earning enormous amounts of money, Michael Jackson's cash flow problems became increasingly serious. Why? Because wealth and cash are not the same thing. Michael had valuable assets, but maintaining his lifestyle required constant spending. And as album sales slowed during later years, the pressure intensified. Then came legal battles, court cases, settlements, media scandals. Sponsors disappeared. Public perception changed. Touring became less consistent. And suddenly, the world's biggest superstar was facing serious financial trouble. By the early 2000s, reports suggested Michael Jackson was carrying massive debt. Some estimates claimed he owed hundreds of millions of dollars. Neverland Ranch itself became a financial burden. At one point, foreclosure threats reportedly loomed over the property. To many people, it looked like Michael Jackson's empire was collapsing. But despite the chaos, Michael still possessed something incredibly valuable: his catalog ownership. Because even during financial struggles, music publishing continued generating income. Songs don't stop making money. Every radio play, commercial, movie license, stream, or public performance generated royalties. And Michael Jackson owned some of the most valuable music rights on earth. That ownership became the foundation that would eventually save his estate. Then came 2009. Michael Jackson announced his comeback tour. This is it. The demand was unbelievable. Tickets sold out almost instantly. Fans around the world prepared for one of the biggest concert events in history. But before the tour could begin, Michael Jackson died suddenly on June 25, 2009. The entire world stopped. News coverage exploded globally. Fans gathered outside hospitals. Music sales surged overnight. And financially, something extraordinary happened. Michael Jackson became even more profitable after death. Almost immediately, his estate transformed into one of the most successful celebrity estates ever created. Music streams exploded. Album sales skyrocketed. Documentaries, movies, merchandise, and licensing deals generated enormous revenue. The documentary film, This Is It, alone earned hundreds of millions of dollars worldwide. Suddenly, the same assets that once seemed overshadowed by debt became incredibly valuable. The estate's management team aggressively reorganized finances, reduced debt, and maximized Michael Jackson's intellectual property. And it worked. Over the years following his death, Michael Jackson's estate reportedly generated billions of dollars. Billions. Which is almost unbelievable considering the financial struggles he faced near the end of his life. Today, Michael Jackson remains one of the highest-earning dead celebrities in the world. And the reason comes down to one thing: ownership. Michael Jackson understood that owning music rights creates long-term wealth. Long after concerts end, long after trends fade, the royalties continue. That's the power of intellectual property. And Michael understood it better than almost anyone. But his story is also a warning. Because massive income does not guarantee financial stability. You can earn hundreds of millions of dollars and still face financial collapse if spending grows faster than income. Michael Jackson's life became a strange combination of genius and excess. He revolutionized music. changed entertainment forever, built one of the most valuable music catalogs in history. But he also spent enormous amounts trying to maintain a lifestyle few people could even imagine. And somehow, despite all the controversy, financial pressure, and chaos, Michael Jackson's empire survived. Not because of Neverland. Not because of fame. But because of ownership. The next time you hear a Michael Jackson song playing somewhere, remember this: that music is still making money. Every stream. Every commercial. Every performance. The business machine never stopped. And decades later, Michael Jackson's millions are still growing.